So all of a sudden, the entirety of the crypto market has been turned on its head, with the Bitcoin ETFs now being crazy positives, the German government being over halfway done with their selling. I believe even today they're under $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. It's making some really good steps. And I seriously mean it when I say the bull posting is back harder than ever, with so many people that were crazy bearish the last few days turning back around now that Bitcoin hit what? 59.5 thousand? Maybe it even hit higher? But let's talk some numbers. So first of all, the Bitcoin ETF inflow has been at one of the crazier high points in its entire career. But surely if we take a look at the last 3 weeks, we're at the highest values, with the 8th of July, 294 million worth of inflows, and just yesterday, 216 million. And the most important part here is that this is just BlackRock reviving itself. And I know that for the most part, this is not only institutions, it's a lot of just retail buying the dip that's got access via the BlackRock or whatever ETF. But it was quite peculiar to me that we saw zero numbers, and not like a little minus, a little plus, but like zero numbers basically for such a long while. And all of a sudden here, some crazy positive numbers again. It almost looked like it was like stopped and that 90% of the people didn't have access at this time, couldn't buy, sell, do anything. And all of a sudden now it opened back up. And you might argue that it's kind of coincidental with some of the more interesting announcements that have come out. I mean, Powell is going on a little bit of a rampage. If you don't know who he is, take your time to look into it. He's the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve. And I guess we can even just call it the Federal Reserve in the sense of the World Reserve Bank, because that's the status right now. But he basically said two interesting things today, one of which was, we have good ways to go on shrinking balance sheet, or smoother, we have a good ways to go on shrinking balance sheet, and the fiscal path from the U.S. is unsustainable. So that is quite something interesting to see. And I don't think I need to show you guys the German government numbers when we're talking about Bitcoin, because at first I really didn't expect it to have any impact on prices anymore. The reason I will say that I do think it has is mostly because I think people with trading bots have just got their algorithm set on, is Germany selling? Yes, then dump, or then short. Because the moment, I'm going to say like minus 5 minutes or so, but the moment I saw a tweet saying Germany just moved whatever amount of Bitcoin, again, is also when the price moved from 59 point something, 59.5 or something K, to 58 point something K, 58.3 or something, within a very short amount of time. And again, it's not necessarily correlated. It could just be a little bit of luck. I haven't checked the full correlation on the other times that Germany moved money. Or I should rather say it's for sure correlated this last time, but perhaps not causation. So can't deduct anything too useful just quite yet. Perhaps if somebody's really willing to do the time and research. But then again, soon enough it's going to be over because they're almost out of Bitcoin anyway. But talking about that, I think it's starting to become time to think about what's further into the future. And one of the most interesting things I found was this. Apparently, Goldman Sachs, take a look, to launch 3 tokenization projects by the end of the year, says the digital assets chief. As its peers in traditional finance push deeper into crypto, including BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF and Fidelity's trading platform, Goldman Sachs is preparing to make a move of its own. This comes as the 150-year-old banking behemoth is seeing a major uptick in interest from clients, digital asset global head Matthew McDermott told Fortune. And for the most part, I think this coincides again with the narrative of BlackRock, that they said, oh, we're going to go for a tokenization wave, many things will be tokenized, that for the most part plays into the Ethereum dream of what is the main platform for tokenization. As of this point, Ethereum, before the private ledgers are going to be taken over soon enough. And with the ETFs coming up, is that coincidence? Is that luck? Or is this the perfect opportunity where it all comes together as of this point? I do believe so. So as I said, I believe right now we're getting to a part in the cycle where Ethereum gets more attractive than Bitcoin. But before we move on, here's something else that's quite attractive. It's called PlayFi AI. In simple terms, the PlayFi protocol unlocks a Web3 experience for gaming, live streaming, entertainment, sports, and more. And if you're wondering how that would play out, well, they turn live content into structured data in real time that basically enables these Web3 features on anything. So if you got yourself the game or a stream or whatever, yeah, usually that's not per definition anything Web3 related, but that's what these guys aim to change. I think the exponential growth factor here is quite obvious, and to power their whole protocol, they've got themselves the Play token, because obviously for such a system, you need people to interact. You need it to be secure, and for that reason, you want your nodes as diverse as possible. And obviously, as an incentivization, and in simple terms, the gas token, they've got this Play that will also act as a reward for all the nodes. Now, there's a couple other parts to it, but I'd say the most important part is making sure that everybody gets fairly rewarded, and they want a token for that. It's actually quite cool though if you think about it. Gaming studios can capture in-game data from every session with zero product and database integration required. And it could be nice for ads, integrate these prediction markets alongside, again, in a decentralized manner. And like I said, they need a proper infrastructure for that in the form of nodes. And they write themselves here, their nodes are uniquely modular, performing 4 fee-earning functions that the node runner may opt into: AI processing, AI coordination, data proving, and storage. Node runners stake Play and ETH to activate their nodes in the network and are rewarded with Play tokens as they fulfill requests. And that's right now what's going on. They've got themselves their node whitelist. And if you go over to the page of the nodes, you'll find there are a lot of ways to get whitelisted in the lead up to the node license sale. Join the points platform to learn about the nodes, get whitelisted, and earn airdrop points. So you might want to do that. You can, for example, win some by joining their Discord, and every day they're giving a couple of spots away if you sign up for the email. And anyway, on here, as you can see a little bit, you can, for example, get points by doing certain tasks that again can make you eligible. Just check it out. I'll leave a link to their website down below. And just to keep you guys in the loop on what's been happening with the price, I will tell you that it's been one of the more crazy times for Bitcoin. With such crazy deviances, there's a lot of volatility. I mean, just a couple days ago, between 2 days ago and now, we're up 10% or so. But from the top of earlier today, we are back down like what, 3% or so in the last 12 hours. From the bottom, a few days back, just for fun, we're up 12.2%, or right now up roughly 9.16%. And from just the beginning of this month, just to name a couple of things, we're down 10% also. And with that obviously comes more opportunity and more risk. So every single day I look at the comments section and notice that people are not sure how to trade or make money in this market. And the best thing I can tell you is, if you want to be extremely safe about it all, the best thing you can do, in my own humble opinion, is just buy periodically. This can be every day, every week, every month, but of course, the shorter the time frame, the better. For example, if you're buying twice a day, you are most likely going to get yourself a better average price than if you buy once every 2 weeks. You might get lucky with the once in every 2 weeks, but for the most part, just buying every day is better. All of a sudden, I saw some crazy flashing light, but I see some light here also. Do you see the... It's like a red... Oh, it's the television... I thought the sniper was on my head, you know. But that's again because ultimately our theory stands, let me quickly zoom out to show you, on the idea that Bitcoin will be higher within a few months than it is today. And so the best time to buy following this thesis is as early as possible. And particularly if we're taking a look at the RSI, we're noticing, well, prices relatively are actually pretty cheap right now at the, let's just call this middle ground levels here, where if you're buying right now and the run continues on, well, then you can hardly get a lower average price than anywhere within this like area. And if you look back in a few months, we'll be whatever, up here somewhere. Not guaranteed, these are just my thoughts, but that's also how I'm playing this game and playing this market. And if in doubt, just realize once more, right now if we're looking at the levels, this is not fully updated, but you get the idea. We're at such low levels of interest, most people are like, oh, this Bitcoin thing had a nice little runner up, but it's down again, huh? And the hype really hasn't kicked in because the altcoins haven't gone insane. But usually it's Bitcoin first, then ETH, then altcoins. Why would this time be any different, especially with what we're noticing now? BlackRock coming in, the tokenization wave kicking off hard, and the traditional markets being in a very interesting spot. Once more, in my own humble opinion, we're just at the start of a massive growth phase, and yes, there'll be bumps along the road. No, it may not be easy everywhere, but we know where we're headed. I just saw this post, thought I might share it. Launching today, T-Rex with 2x and minus 2x spot Bitcoin ETFs, which will challenge Pro shares and Vol shares, whose leveraged Bitcoin ETFs already have about 2 billion combined. That's how good the getting is in this category right now. I just feel as if right now, a little bit, just a little bit, it's still a little bit of a, oh, maybe, but soon enough, that won't be the case. And how right now we're hoping for Ethereum ETFs and altcoin ETFs to start rolling in, soon enough, it'll be the norm. I just think so. And the way I always see it is, I'd rather invest in it right now, knowing that it might all go south, than lose out on the opportunity. On the opposite side, I will tell you one thing from my last 10 years here, and that is, don't be too stupid by never cashing out any profit. I've written many memes all the way to the top, all the way back down, and I think many people will. You will probably also. I get texts every couple of days of people asking me, hey, is it normal to make a couple $100,000 and then be left with an actual minus? And I say, yeah, it's very normal. Most people that are really trying hard go through something along those lines, because it's hard to make the big bucks, you know, to go from $10,000 to $5 million if you're not willing to be a little bit crazy about it. And that means losing a lot. Probably. On the opposite side, that's also probably how you make those crazy gains in the first place. And from experiencing it a few times, just know, if you get wrecked the first time, you don't, this might sound like, an addict's worst advice. I'm not your financial advisor for that reason. But if you get wrecked the first time, just realize you're learning and it's part of the process. Ultimately, though, with a market that only moves up, even though there's good corrections, but stock markets only moved up as well over time. In a market that's only moved up, it's actually quite hard to lose money unless you're trying a game of picking and choosing the right one altcoin, just like with stocks, but picking the one right stock. But even with stocks, if you're picking the general direction and you're buying a couple different stocks, and with cryptos, if you're going for certain sectors, you're buying a couple, you'll probably be good off. You'll probably do pretty well. Those are just my thoughts. I'm stacking like a madman right now. It feels as if things are starting to get juicy here because of all the news and the sentiment shifting. Because even though prices are coming down, I don't think, regardless of where the price goes, unless we go below like 53K again, that the bearish negative thoughts that we had a few days ago are going to be continued. One thing that could change that again is a very, very negative day on the Bitcoin ETFs. If we see one, you might see some negative sentiment, but things have started to clear up, which is nice. And that's about it.